Welcome to my channel. So when you see this video, I'm probably outside in the wilderness, camping. I don't know exactly where yet, but at least I'll probably be in a tent. That made me think, which books have I read that gives me that outdoorsy kind of vibe? I'm recording this Thursday evening and I'm going on the hike tomorrow, and I haven't yet decided which books to read. I've packed my Kindle, so I know that I'm going to probably read something on my Kindle, mostly because it's backlit, so I don't need to worry about do I have enough lighting for my reads. So that's one of the major advantages of having a Kindle. Reading with a head torch isn't really my thing. It's too bright, and the ones that's not too bright, they're too expensive, so naturally the Kindle is great for this. So I won't be talking about which books I'm going to bring. I'm going to talk about the books that makes me feel outdoorsy. And this is something I do quite regularly. I like to theme up my books and think about them in chunks of what do they make me feel and how, like what feelings am I left with after I've finished them. So I'm going to talk a little bit about those. And the first one is one that I've mentioned a whole lot of times over the years, and that is Halldor Laxness and Independent People. So this is a major Icelandic classic, and the reason why I'm talking about this one today is because it's based around weather and what weather can do to you, and also in the meaning of how weather makes you a different person, or how it challenges you and makes you a stubborn man, like our main character in this one. So it's about Iceland, it's about Bjartur, a sheep farmer, and his way of doing things. And each time I think of this, I feel like I want to wrap myself up in a gigantic blanket, sit inside like a house made of stones, cold but with a fireplace. And I guess the only kind of weather I imagine it to be is rainy, windy, and like hurricaney all over the place. Maybe it's not a book for hiking, but it's certainly a book that makes me feel connected to nature. Another book that gave me sort of the same vibe is Walden by Henry Thoreau. So this is about the author himself and his diary from when he decided to go out in the woods and stay there. So it's not fiction at all. He went to this place in Massachusetts and he describes in detail everything he did and thought about in these times. So I can't remember when this is set. It came out in 1854, and it was actually one of the first books I ever bought, or at least it's one of the first books I bought for this channel, because I'm not sure what I expected right now, but at the time I think I felt like I could need to read about a man that just wanted to escape everything and live by himself. I do think that the author himself died of pneumonia at the age of 41 or something like that. So it's not pretty, but it's very interesting to like get inside his head and see what thoughts he had when he decided to just go and live in the woods. And his love for the woods is very apparent in this one, but it's also very detailed. So if you, as I said, it's a diary forms thing. So if you enjoy details, this is for you. It's also a international classic, so there's something to be said about having read it. I don't know if I mean that, but at least it's a classic. And it's a different classic. It's not like reading Jane Eyre or any of the other ones. At least it gives you the feeling of being surrounded by woodland, and I like that feeling. Then for another non-fiction, and this is An Ode to Darkness by Sigri Sandberg. It's a short novel about her conquering her fear of the dark, or if she does, I can't really remember, but she describes her feelings around darkness and polar nights, the northern lights, and being isolated, and nature as a whole. And it's really short and sweet, and I thoroughly enjoyed reading it. Then it's time for Løpe, or Run Wolf something like that, by Kerstin Ekman. She's a Swedish author, and this was nominated for the Nordic Council Literature Prize a couple of years ago. It's about this retired couple where the man in the couple one day meets a wolf, and it changes his life, and it also changes the lives of other people in this local community. I don't know what I thought about the plot for this one, but I do remember liking how they described their thoughts about being surrounded by nature and their relationship with it. It's kind of different, or not like I expected. You might say this is sort of crime fiction like, but the way they just talk about being with animals and their thought about the climate crisis and everything up there, it's really great. And a lot of the book is in the middle of what I would reckon to be like a Nordic woodland landscapes kind of thing. I like the book, and yeah, this is also one of those reads that I might have enjoyed taking with me while hiking. I thought we'd stay in Sweden, and if you're going camping with kids aged 6 to 10, I would recommend taking this one along. It's The Brothers Lionheart by Astrid Lindgren, and this is about two brothers that sort of dies, and then they go to this imaginary parallel universe where they fight evil bad guys, or just bad guys if you want to, but they're constantly on a horseback and they travel through the woods, and it's just something really beautiful about these two brothers taking care of each other while going through forests that makes this, I would say, the perfect children's novel to bring with you on a camping trip. My kids are like a bit too young now, but at some point they will have this read to them maybe in a tent somewhere. We'll see. Then we're going back to Norway again, and it's The History of Bees by Maja Lunde. So this is a part of a series of books. It's in total 4, and they're all about the environmental crisis and different aspects of it. So this one in particular is about bees, and it's split into 3 where we jump back and forth between narrators. And like basically the first story is about when we started working with bees, so in 1853. Then we're in 2007 when we start noticing that there are fewer of them. And then we're in 2098 where things aren't as great, you might say. And I felt it was really gripping and also really interesting to read about something that feels so relevant, unfortunately. It has been a huge hit and is probably translated into every language there is, or at least a lot of them. So if you want to read about insects and if you want to become a bit depressed while being on a camping trip, I think that's the book for you. Yeah. I don't know what book is for me for this trip. As I said, I'm going to bring my Kindle, and on my Kindle I have a lot of books, but I'm struggling to choose books at the moment, so we'll just see how that goes. I can try and post a picture on my YouTube feed when I have decided for a book and when I'm sitting in my camping chair, so if I remember, I will post a picture. If you feel like it, comment what book you're reading in the comment section below, and I hope you have a terrific weekend, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!